Okay, September 11th. What a day. What a day. We're back.
September 11th,
Dare to think. And
2021.
yes, I'm here with JB. I am Matthew. And
And
this.
I'm JB.
Here's JB. We're back on September 11th. Quite a day. It's the 20th anniversary of the
Yeah,
attack.
this only comes once.
Yeah.
It's not every day that it's the 20th anniversary of 9/11.
No.
So, Matt, you're telling me you were perusing on social media today.
Yes, it was.
And you were reading some stuff. What did you read?
I was just on YouTube and I was on Facebook and I just saw, there's a lot of posts. There's a lot of people commemorating the day. God bless all those that were lost. God bless all the soldiers that were lost due to the 9/11 attacks.
You mean as a byproduct?
Yeah, for sure.
The ones that went to Afghanistan and Iraq and
Yeah, definitely. Because recently with Joe Biden pulling out of Afghanistan, it's like there's been a lot of talk around that. There's been a lot of hate for Joe Biden for pulling out early. Well, early if you will. Because, right, the whole reason that we went into Afghanistan was because of 9/11. So, it's a big topic. It's pretty controversial. So,
yeah.
anyway, yeah, I'm just seeing people's comments on social media and just talking to people, and definitely God bless all those that were lost. But I also think that it is extremely important to realize what really happened on that day, on September 11th, 2001.
Yeah.
And,
I agree.
What happened before, leading up to it, and what happened after. So.
I agree. So you're reading things and you kind of expressed to me via text that you were I think you said that you were losing faith in humanity, or you had lost faith in humanity because you feel like people still are buying the narrative, the original narrative, the original conspiracy theory that we talked about in our 8th episode briefly, when we did a brief overview of some bigger events that happened in our lifetime, and well, going back to the 60s, going back to the JFK assassination. So you said that you had lost faith, or were losing faith, because you felt like people were still, based on the comments that you were reading and the things that you had read, that they were either oblivious to...
Yeah. Oblivious is a great word.
All right, talk
Yeah,
about
a lot of people are still oblivious. A lot of people are still believing like the mainstream narrative of what happened on 9/11. And that's frustrating. It's been 20 years.
Well, maybe what you were reading were the approved comments, and maybe
Oh, yeah, for sure.
the
It's a good point, actually.
the disapproved, or the ones that don't fit the...
They might get erased,
Yeah,
censored.
maybe they just get deleted. Or
That's a great point. I didn't actually think of that. Thank you for that. That's real. I mean, that's obviously, we know that censorship is a huge deal. So that makes sense. They're going to scrub the comments that they don't approve of. So, yeah, definitely. But, yeah, you had it right. I mean, I was just frustrated, and I was just like, I don't know, trying to reach out to others who could kind of relate to where I'm coming from or what I was talking about. Just seeing so many people just still buy into the mainstream narrative. It kind of hurts my soul. It's like, because I want justice for this. I think people want justice for this. There's been thousands
a lot of the
of
families
lives.
actually do. A lot of the families of the victims of 9/11 were really upset about the 9/11 Commission report because they felt like they didn't ask a lot of the questions that they had, and a a large number of the families of the victims were in support of an independent investigation, not the 9/11 Commission report. So
Yeah.
that's a story that's kind of unfortunately forgotten about 9/11. Maybe we need to talk about 9/11 for a little bit because it's 9/11 20 years later, and we're still feeling the repercussions of that event.
Oh yeah.
A lot has what's the word? A lot has
Manifested
yeah,
or
no, manifested is a good word. I'll take that. A lot has manifested. A lot has been a byproduct of
yeah, definitely.
of what happened on this day 20 years ago.
Which what which is what it was all about, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, it was a new Pearl Harbor.
right, exactly. Exactly. It was able to lead us into the Middle East. It was able to give us an excuse to invade.
Well, think about how many people's lives in the East were changed who had
Oh yeah.
nothing to do with 9/11. And
S-
there how many countries, how many millions of people, how many, now a generation later, how much has that have the repercussions
It's
of
just destroyed families
well,
and
it's
generations of
altered the
families.
world,
Yeah.
really. So 9/11 is a very important 9/11 2001 is a very important event globally, not just for
Oh,
America.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
It changed the way that we travel. It changed the way that it ushered in new surveillance of everyday
TSA,
people. Yeah, the TSA, but the Patriot Act, spying on people's emails.
Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, so it's like it conditioned us to accept this whole new normal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like COVID. I don't
just
know.
like COVID is a mechanism and a catalyst for us to accept the new normal, the new conditions of. I want to say COVID is kind of like the new 9/11. The whole COVID campaign
Oh yeah,
is like
it's
the new 9/11, where it's like, well, of course I'll do that. Of course, anything to stay safe from this virus. Whereas back then it was like anything to stay safe from terrorism. So
right.
you have
It's,
a manufactured crisis, and that's what 9/11, in my opinion, was. And it produced all sorts of compliance and all sorts of justification for things. And it's the same thing. It's the same song and dance. It's just a different crisis.
it's the same song and dance. Absolutely.
And it's from the same people.
Absolutely. Oh, but I guess we're just conspiracy theorists. Nobody can take us seriously. Everyone just can discredit everything that we're saying at any time
Yeah.
or at any point because they can just say, you're a conspiracy theorist. That doesn't hold up. I'm sorry. I talk to people all the time, and
Well,
they just cut me off and say, you're a conspiracy theorist.
what it does is it does a couple of things. It makes them feel better about themselves. And it also gives them a sense that they don't need to look into anything that we're talking about.
That's true.
They go, "Oh, well, there's just a couple of conspiracy theorists. So number 1, I'm cool, and number 2, I don't have to do any thinking. I don't have to, So we're here to, not only dare you to think, we're here to at times make you chafe and rub you wrong and
Ouch.
piss you off, because actually what we're doing is loving.
I think so. I mean,
What we're doing, we're not just going to stroke you. we're going to provoke you. And can I get a
Ooh,
boom?
that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a boom. We're not just gonna stroke you.
We're going to provoke you.
We're gonna provoke you.
Yeah, I didn't even mean to say that. It just kind of, it kind of happened. It's 9/11, so the 9/11 magic is here, and I guess I'm here to, rhyme. Matt, let's chop it up, dude. Let's
Chop it and
spar.
chop.
Let's
Chop it and
mentally
chop.
spar with our audience.
9/11, 20 years later. Here we go. Anniversary. It's crazy. I don't know. What do you want to jump into? I don't know what to say anymore.
I do.
I just sure hit me. Let's do it.
History. Well, okay. So we have the historical, perspective on 9/11 20 years later. And then we have the relevance of our current state of affairs here, not just in America, but across the world. But I really feel like the battle is going to start. Not that it hasn't been a battle before, but I think it's going to start getting a bit thicker here based on what I'm hearing. Specifically with this whole idea of this person up, in Washington, D.C. He's 3,000 miles away from us, Matt. But him and his administration, and I like to refer to him as the acting president, because he's acting like he's the president, but I doubt that he truly is.
Yeah, I would agree.
I doubt that he's and if you voted for him, that's cool. But I don't
know. I don't think it's cool.
Well,
fuck you for voting for Joe Biden. Sorry,
no,
I don't even swear. But I'm just gonna say it.
Okay, so Matt disagrees with your vote if you voted for Joe Biden. That's fine. I believe in freedom. If you voted for the guy, if you felt like he was the best guy to accomplish the job, cool. But here's a thought I had recently, Matt, in the last couple days. What if, and I'm going to pose it to the audience here, everybody, whether you voted for Joe Biden or not. Let's just say Joe Biden rolls up in his Cadillac Escalade with his whole entourage, right? Super fancy. It's all black. He's got his black, aviators on. And he rolls up to your house, and it's all like, well, everybody comes out of their house, and they're just like, well, look what's going on. Something important's going on. And Joe Biden gets out, and he comes up to you, whoever you are, and he says, give me $5 out of your wallet right now. Even if you voted for him, would you do it?
Do you have change for a 20?
No. He just says, I mandate that you give me $5 out of your wallet right now. Are you going to do it?
Well, I wouldn't. I don't think a lot of people would.
I don't even think people who voted for him
But you're
would.
making a point here. So
Yes,
I
no.
don't need to,
I'm midway through an illustration here, Matt. Work with me. Work with me, bro.
I'm working it.
Try to think.
I'm working it.
Try to think like other people think. Okay? I want you to think how you think, but I want you to think and give people the benefit of the doubt.
Other people might think that Joe Biden's the best option and that Donald Trump was this terrible racist person. So they're going to vote for Joe Biden.
But does that mean that they're going to open up their... Okay, and I'll give you that. But does that mean that... Let's just say everything you just said is correct. Yeah, they hate Donald Trump, or they hate the Republican Party, and they hate everything about the Republican Party, and true blue Democrat, and that's fine. And they're like, well, I'm voting for Joe Biden because obviously he's, better than Donald Trump and the Republican Party. Cool. But what if he comes up to your house and he says, yo, dude, you voted for me? Open up your wallet right now. Give me $5.
Oh, I think people would
I
be
mandate
furious.
you to give me $5 right now. What do you think people would do?
They would be terrified. They wouldn't be okay with that.
Do you think people would do it because he said to do it?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question.
What percentage of people do you think? I have my own thoughts on the whole thing, but I need to hear from other people, other perspectives. You, what, and I'm putting it out there to everybody else. How many people would go, yes, sir, of course. Here's $5,
I don't think a lot of people would
and why not?
because they have families and they have expenses and gas is outrageous and food is outrageous and they have rents and mortgages and utility bills to
But
pay.
it's Joe Biden. He's the president of the United States. He's the leader of the free world.
But
Why would you not do that? Why would you not go, yes, sir, of course I'll do that? You know, if some homeless dude did the same thing, would you do it? Most people, I don't think, would. But if it's from a perceived, you know, authority like Joe Biden, why would or would not people do it?
I don't think a lot of people would do it because people want to preach and people want to talk about like you know they want to talk about everyone should have the same rights and everyone should have freedom and everyone should have medical the illegals should never be displaced. They should always have a place to live and be cared for. But when it comes down to people actually opening up to their own houses and letting people stay with them, or when it comes to them actually taking money physically out of their wallet and handing it over when they worked hard for that, then I think it hits them. Then I think they go, I don't know. I don't like that.
Okay, so here's what I'm trying to do, Matt, is to point out hypocrisy. If people won't open up their wallet, and let's even say that they voted for Joe Biden, if people won't open up their wallet and give Joe Biden $5, because most people, I think personally, even if they voted for him, would say he has no right to tell me to give him $5. Number one, he doesn't need $5 from me. Number two, he has no right to come in to my house and demand and mandate that I give him $5. So if that's the case, what gives him the right to mandate that 80 million people get vaccinated or else?
He doesn't, but
No, he
people,
doesn't.
Most people don't think logically like you. I mean,
Well,
most people don't think about
that's
it
why
in
we're
those
having-
terms.
That is why we're having this podcast.
Absolutely.
We're
And
not
I
here to
agree
stroke you.
with you, but
We are
it's
not
like,
here to stroke you. We're here to provoke you. Oh,
damn, you're just coming up with all these bumper stickers tonight. Kaboom.
okay. I got another one for you.
All right, hit me.
It's 9/11. We got to start dropping some thought bombs on people's brains. Hopefully, we can break the bunker. Hopefully, we can get people mad at us. And you know what? I don't even care if you get mad at me. I'm just a messenger. I personally care about people. And if it means that it causes you to think things through a little bit more carefully, I'll take your hatred towards me, personally. Because I think it's more important now, in our day and age, that we stop being intellectually lazy, intellectually dishonest, and willfully ignorant. The times that we live in, we cannot be any of those things, personally. So I'm going to be the bad guy. And here's another one I got for you, Matt. Are you ready?
Yeah, hit me.
I was thinking about it. Are mandates for free people?
No.
No. I feel like choice is for people. And here's another bumper sticker I got. I'm working on it.
Okay.
You help me develop it, Matt. Choice is for people, or I should say free choice is for people. Mandates are for slaves. I'm not a slave. I'm a free person. I'm not anti-vaccinating, or if you want to go get vaccinated or take 25 vaxes and wear 10 masks, we've talked about this before. That's fine. Go ahead. But when you say you have to do it, I mandate you to do it or else, that's a big no.
Well, you're taking the freedom away from people when you tell them that they have to be mandated for something from the government. And not only that, but even if somebody agrees with the vaccines, even if somebody agrees with them 100%, if the government is telling you that that you're mandated to take something to be put in your body in order for you to make a living, even if you fully agree with the vaccine, I would say that a lot of people are just going to say no.
Right. I I do think that this is where it's going to get really interesting because what we're seeing, the position that this White House is taking is like an ultimatum.
It is. It's a threat, really.
It really is. And so they're kind of banking on the fact because they've spent so much time, this is my opinion, they've spent so much time dividing the nation. Those who are willing to do this and those who are not, that they're kind of counting on the people who have done it to be like a pressure force for those of us who have not done it.
It's causing a lot of rift between people. The
Well,
unvaccinated and the vaccinated.
right,
People
we
are
talked
kind of,
about that in episode number 5.
yeah, people are
Everybody,
getting heated with each other. And there's a lot of, oh man.
so we're not going to let them do that to us because there's a lot of people that we know and love, family members, friends, who've chosen to do this, and we're not going to let somebody 3,000 miles away in Washington, D.C. divide me from my friends and my family. I feel like we should be able to talk it through. But I did read a article maybe a couple weeks ago, and it talked about how people lost friends in 2020 and 2021 over this whole COVID thing
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
and over the vaccine thing, and that's a shame.
It really is.
That is a shame that relationships were either damaged temporarily or even permanently because of these individuals who are propagating
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
this kind of thing. And so what we want to do, Matt, I think you would agree, is to engage people and be like, we can't let that happen, number one. Number two, what relationship is more important to you? The people around you who you've known and who you've had, connection with, or people who are talking to you through a screen who you have no impersonal, connection with, but you perceive them as experts or authority or something of that nature.
Yeah, definitely my friends and family.
Of course. So there's no need for to let that kind of psychological division succeed against us. That's what they want,
Yeah, definitely.
in my opinion.
Well, you got to rile everyone up, get everyone like pissed off at each other. I I did want to make one statement. I want to be clear that I have no problem with anybody getting the vaccine. I have no problem with anyone wearing a mask or two masks.
Yeah.
I don't mind if people take precautions if they're worried about COVID.
Yeah.
I just don't want the government to come in and mandate and tell me that I'm going to lose my job or I can't get a job
Yeah.
if I don't take this vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I draw the line. Personal freedom is being extinguished, and that's what this country was founded on.
Okay, so Matt, here's the other. Thank you for that lead in. So here's my next question: are they taking our freedoms, or are we giving them away?
Well, both. Definitely both. If everyone stood up I've had conversations about this earlier today. If everyone just stood up, and when I say everyone, I mean the citizens of this country, if they just said, no, I'm not going to play the game anymore, it would end. But that's not going to happen. We have to be realistic. It's never going to happen that way. People are not just going to all at the same time stand up and say, I'm done playing your game. I'm not gonna play the game anymore. I'm not gonna take the mandates. It's not gonna happen. So we have to do things like this. We have to have a podcast. We have to share information. We have to connect with people. We have to enlighten people and wake people up. Share information that hopefully will make beneficial change.
I think a lot of people, Matt, I hear you, but I think a lot of people are actually waging a good fight.
That's great. That's great.
I don't think that it's going to be front and center because they kind of hold. They're the gatekeepers, so they're not going to let people think
True. True.
that
True.
that they have the power to resist them
Yeah, that's true.
or to fight back.
Even if they're losing, they're going to make it look like
Absolutely,
they're winning.
absolutely their art is deception,
Right.
and so it's to what's the word? Um,
Manipulate or
yes, manipulate, but it's also to demoralize,
yes.
to take away the ability, the will in you to fight back.
Yeah, that's true. Just grind
It's-
you down
yes,
until you have no fight left
It's
in
to,
you.
it's to demoralize you so that you perceive that there's no possible chance of you winning. Guess what? It's a lie.
Yeah.
People who really have a strong moral fortitude within themselves and who have a strong community within themselves, there's entire sections of the country that don't buy this for 1 second. There's entire sections of our state here in California, which a lot of people on TV would portray as like, oh, California doesn't, they just go along with whatever whatever they're told. That's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Because just about 2 million people signed a recall election, and as a result, they now are threatening the characters that masquerade as authority, that think that they have unlimited authority. And the people are saying, no, you don't. So there is a struggle that's going on between the establishment and the people. And it's funny, Matt, because I even saw an ad about, if they're trying to scare the Democrats, the Democratic base, into like, if we lose this fight, it's going to be like January 6th, 2021 in California. That's like how they were portraying it.
Yeah.
Like their only desperate measure is to try to scare people.
Oh, they've gotten so desperate with the commercials that I hear on the radio and on TV and even on YouTube. Like I just go to watch a YouTube video.
If you don't vote for Gavin Newsom, if you don't stop this thing, the sky's gonna fall and the earth's gonna fall out from under your feet. So I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, that was poignant. That was really what I was getting at. Is the sky's gonna fall. It's gonna be doomsday if you don't keep Gavin Newsom in office.
And it's gonna be all you Democrats' fault if you don't do it. They're manipulating. If that is not manipulation of your feelings, like go out and vote and support this incompetent person.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
Of course they do.
But I've definitely seen people on social media that say things like, this is all just a Republican ploy.
No. And I've seen people who respond to that and say this is not a Republican recall, it's a California recall.
It definitely is, because
You better believe it.
most
It
people I
really
talk
is.
to are Democrats, and they don't like him.
Every
So,
I'll say this, Matt. I'm from a bigger family. I'm one out of 5 kids. We're kind of split down the middle in my family as far as in-laws and all that extra stuff of liberal slash conservative. But every registered Democrat in my family voted to recall Gavin Newsom.
nice, nice.
So, and I know we're not alone, because I've followed this story closely, and a lot of Democrats, a lot of independents. This is a California recall. Don't be fooled, everybody. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe what Gavin Newsom and all these other people are trying to say. There are better, even if you vote for another Democrat, it's going to be better than Newsom. Like, the Democratic Party, in my opinion, is not necessarily altogether bad. But the direction that they have taken, and I'm not saying that the Republican Party is altogether good. I'm not saying that at all. I'm a no party voter, but the destruction that Newsom's policies, and not just him, but the people who have been his predecessors, the policies that have gone on can be felt all throughout the state, and that is the reason. Everybody knows that's the reason why a lot of people have left California. That's the reason why crime is out of control, homelessness is out of control, the fires are out of control. All the corruption is deep, and it's not getting better anytime soon. And so, more of the same is not going to be good for California.
It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to make a change. It's not going to solve anything. Sorry, not to cut you off, but
Not at all. I want to hear you talk too.
yeah, just more of the same is not going to change anything.
Matt,
Yes.
I don't, we can't let them divide us by party affiliation.
No.
Or even even disagreement on a topic. We can't even be divided. Just disagreement does not have to equal division.
No, you know me. You know that I don't buy into the whole left-right paradigm, the whole Republican-Democrat paradigm. Been researching that for years.
I wish more people thought like that.
Yeah. I am a registered Republican, and I do side more with the Republicans, and I am more conservative, I will admit. But I also know that both sides are corrupt.
Well, yes, the parties themselves are corrupt. That doesn't necessarily mean that the people who vote
Right.
based on policy are corrupt or bad people. The way that the media would our wonderful friends at the media would portray it is that we're enemies. When, like I just told you earlier, it's like in my family there's conservative, liberal, in between, because people are wonderfully different in their thoughts. And just because you have one conservative or one liberal and another liberal, that doesn't mean that their thoughts and their feelings are identical. Hopefully not. Same with conservatives. And so, but the media would have us feel like it's a divide and conquer kind of thing. That's their job.
Right, that is their job. Like literally, that's their job.
Yeah. We were saying that we're here not to stroke you but to provoke you. I got to keep using that one, Matt. But they're the provocateurs. They provoke you in a different kind of way. They provoke you against other people. And we're here to provoke you just to think and to actually be a part of our thinking because we don't know it all and we need your thoughts. Because maybe we got some things wrong and you have a better way of looking at it than we do. And that way we all benefit by kind of climbing the transcendent ladder.
Yes, definitely, definitely. I want to read this quote from Ronald Reagan. This is from Ronald Reagan. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free.
Or that there even was a place called the United States.
Well, I'm sure, hundreds of years, if not thousands of years down the line, the history of the United States might be erased, just like so many other important civilizations.
Yeah.
But we can't allow that to happen.
Well, who's to say that there wasn't once upon a time a place like the United States?
Oh, I'm sure
But
there was.
it got erased from history.
Right.
That's a possibility. That's a very strong, in my opinion, that's a very plausible and probable scenario that there once was a place like the United States, maybe even better as far as its ideals go, not its history. Every history of any country has blood on it.
Absolutely.
There's
definitely.
nobody is exempt.
Nobody's clean.
There
Nobody's
is no
100%
utopia. there is only reality. And yeah, there could very well have been one or more, maybe even multiple versions of free societies that were similar to the ideals and the ideology of the United States. Such as all men are all men meaning mankind, humankind, women too, are created equal and are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. That means that you can't separate them from you, even if you wanted them to be separated from you.
Right, God-given rights. Right?
Yeah, they're on you, they're in you, they are you.
It is part of you being part of this planet.
Yeah, I like to say I'm a free man on the earth.
Right.
I happen to live in America, which esteems those same values of, yes, of course you're a free man, woman, person on the earth. And here in America, it's like we protect that.
Yes, that's amazing. That's why I value this country. That's what I love about this country, is that freedom is protected.
But I really think real Americans understand that. And right now real Americans are going to get challenged because the current sitting power is trying to flex its muscle and find out what we're made out of. I do believe that.
It is a test. I do believe it's a test to see how far they can push us before we break.
Well, yeah. and they've been attempting to weaken our society by all these little divisions. Black people and white people are different. But in the ideology of America, it's like, no, all men and women are created equal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we have an ideological war going on. And then they say, like, what's the other division?
Race, gender.
Yeah, Republican, Democrat. Yeah, exactly. Men versus women. All these little divide and conquer tactics that as soon as you realize that you start to, like, kind of look into it more, you realize it's the same group of people that's
it is
preaching this false gospel, and you either buy it or you don't. And as soon as you realize, maybe you bought it for a time, but as soon as you realize and you wake up to it and you go, "Oh my God, it's total crap. It's a big pile of crap."
Yeah, it's sold to people. It's sold to people.
But they buy it.
Yes,
they're like,
"Here, do buy it.
Do you guys want to buy some crap today?" And they're like, "Sure, how much?" They're like, "Well, big pile of crap like this costs $150." And they're like, all right, 150, can you come down? They're like, nope. They're like, all right, all I got is 160. Here's 150 for the big pile of dog crap I'm going to go home with. That leaves me with $10 for the rest of the month. Now, who are you mad at?
I mean, the person that sold into it, bought into it.
I'm not even mad at them. They should be mad at themselves.
I mean, they should be mad at themselves. But if all these people just go along with it,
Right.
you
Getting
know,
back to that
that's
question,
what's.
are they taking our freedom or are we giving it away?
It's both. It's
I
both.
agree. I totally agree with you. But it would be harder for them to take it if we didn't lay it on the table.
No, it's just like I was saying. If everyone stood up tomorrow or, yesterday, then it wouldn't exist. It couldn't go on. But it's because that people keep cooperating in this game. It's really a game. It's a system that we're being played. So people keep going along with it. So yes, when you say that, it's a bit of both. But at the same time, you can't expect everyone just to stand up tomorrow all at once and say, I'm not going to pay my taxes. I'm not going to go along with laws. I'm not going to go along with the narrative. I'm not going to go along with the mandates, the policies.
We're not encouraging anyone to break any law
No.
or to well, I would encourage people to break unjust laws. I absolutely would. But I don't encourage people to break just laws. I encourage people to be just, to walk in their freedom, to walk understanding that there is a natural law that we all abide by. It's pretty basic. I think universally people understand it. You don't do harm to anybody else. You don't exploit them. You don't steal from them. You don't hurt them, whether it be economically or physically. You don't conspire against them. You live in peace with them. That is abiding by the natural law. You live in peace with them. You don't lie to them. You tell them the truth. You do unto them as you would want them to do unto you. So there's a natural law, there's a natural order that we all understand. And when we break it, we know it. But I think that when the more common that lawlessness becomes, the worse off we are as a society, the more that we are weakened as a society, like the times that we're living in now.
Yeah. It's a crazy time to live right now. It really is.
And yet also very exciting.
It is. It's talk about being bipolar. I'm so excited for the future, and I feel, as cheesy as it sounds, I feel like I'm living in this time to experience what's going on. But at the same time, I'm just so frustrated with the people that go along with it and that don't question things. And it seems if people don't question things, it's just going to keep perpetuating the the situation that we're in.
Okay. Yes, I hear you. But look at the pattern of history.
Yeah,
You don't need a whole lot of people
it's true.
to affect a great change.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a small group of people trying to manipulate a change out of the entire world. They're not great in number compared to the rest of us.
Very true.
They're just, they're kind of pressing on the gas because they understand that they have an opportunity right now. A lot of people aren't thinking well. So it's really a tug of war, and I think we've talked about this in some other episodes. It's a tug of war between the people who are aware of the times and everybody else. The great majority is in between and will either are they're going to be affected, and they'll either win or lose depending on which side prevails.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are driving, if you will, and there's also a lot of people that are on autopilot, and they're just going along for the ride. And it's going to take those people driving to steer us down those right roads in order to get away from this tyranny.
Well, thankfully, the people who outlined and designed America have a lot of fail safes, so
Yeah.
that in the event that there's a tyrannical takeover in the higher echelons of government, that doesn't just mean it's um, all she wrote or it's a done deal. There's a lot
No.
of fail safes that the founding architects of America gave to the people because they wanted to give to the people a lot of chances to not lose and to maintain their freedoms. So I really think that what we're living in right now is a truly exciting time, and I like seeing what I'm seeing sometimes. I like seeing the creme de la creme, where the people. It's almost like this whole scenario is showing us what we're really made out of.
That's true. Our backs against the wall. It's like now or never. Do something. Yeah.
I'm actually quite encouraged at some of the courage that I do see in a lot of people.
Yeah, that's great. That's absolutely fantastic.
Of course, that's not going to be on ABC News or CNN,
No.
not even Fox or any of that. But I thankfully there's the censorship isn't so um, overwhelming. There's still enough that I see I have reason to be hopeful in in the courage that I've seen so far.
Definitely. Yeah. We're talking about 9/11. It's the anniversary, 20 years. Very crazy. We're talking about what we were recording last night. I was talking a lot about censorship. It all relates. You know,
Yeah.
I can talk about 9/11. I might be censored. I can talk about COVID. I might be censored. I might talk bad about Joe Biden. I might be censored. Everything is related. And in episode 8 that we recorded recently, I was talking about how everything is related and how we have to lay the foundation. We have to lay the foundation of understanding. We have to look at the facts. We have to look at all the material. We have to look at all the history, and we have to put it all together and figure out how it all, the big picture of it, because all of it is just pieces of the puzzle. We
Yeah.
take each piece and we put it together, and then we see the big picture. So as we're sitting here on the 20th anniversary of September 11th, we're just trying to put together the pieces of the puzzle and seeing how everything relates and how it's all put together.
Yeah. I think Matt, as I was listening to you, I had a thought, and that was I think a lot of people aren't necessarily lazy when they don't want to do the research that, say, like you have a real strong passion of doing,
Right.
any more than, let's say, that there's some sort of biochemist.
And I don't have an interest in that.
Right. And you don't have you have an interest in it, but you don't necessarily feel the desire to do the sort of homework and research that they do in their field. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So
totally
we kind
understand.
of both we need each other. We need them to be experts in their field, and then you might be an expert in your field of research.
I have to put myself in other people's shoes. I have to say, hey, if I have kids and I have a family and I have a mortgage and I'm really busy, I can't delve into this. I can't look into the world. So I always have to keep that in mind. When I get frustrated and when I say, God, why can't they see what I see? It's because not everyone is in the same place as I am.
Well, I think that what's different about what we look into, say from like biochemistry, or I'm not saying that that's not important, or like some sort of aerodynamics, or all, it's wonderful fields of science and math and all the different ways that they help and benefit society. It's that what we're looking at, I think I understand your frustration, because it's almost like saying, like, if you don't understand the importance of this, there is no biochemistry or
Yes,
aerodynamics or
exactly.
freedom or any of that other kind of
Thank
stuff.
you.
So I get it, Matt.
That is real.
I think what we need to do is just flesh our ideas out.
It that Yeah, that really hits home, dude. Thank you for saying that because I didn't even really realize that, but just hearing you say that is really important because I think about jobs and having a career and going to work every day and working 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, whatever it is, and just giving your life to something else. And I feel when I'm doing that, what's the point? Because the world is going to hell. And when I've done so much research and I've tried to figure out how the world works and I've seen all the corruption, why am I at this job working 9 to 5 doing something that's essentially meaningless when I could be doing something like this, having a podcast and sharing information? I just can't find the importance in things other than sharing the information to wake other people up, if you will. That's been something that's been inside of me for so many years. And it makes me not interested in what I'm doing because it doesn't feel like it's very important. The most important thing is exposing the corruption on planet Earth. It sounds nuts. I'm sure a lot of people want to say I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist, but I just can't find the importance in doing mundane tasks as a job when I know that I could be spending my time awakening humanity and this world could be a utopia. Technology that we have is like so vast. It's I
There's
don't
not
know.
going to be a utopia here on Earth, bro. I'm sorry. You can have a good society, but we
There
won't.
there
We
won't be if
we
we just let the corruption in the system
no.
take over.
It's not about something external, though, bro. It's something about internal, because we all have our corruptions, our insecurities, our faults, our sins. We all have these things that retard us. What you're kind of almost, in my opinion, teetering on is the philosophical, and then the spiritual,
Well,
and the existential.
it's all the same thing.
Yeah, but it can't be solved in a political arena.
No, it's not. And that's why people say, "Oh, you have a podcast? What's your guys' podcast about?" And a lot of other people around me might say, "Oh, yeah, I think it's political." I'm like, "No, it's not political at all." I don't really know how to explain it. I just basically say, "I research the world." That's what I say. What is your podcast about? I'm just researching the world.
It's metaphysical, fool.
It is all metaphysical because it's just part of reality. Metaphysics is just a way of explaining reality. Everything is energy, everything is a vibrational frequency. We are all just infinite consciousness.
I
We,
feel like we're going to new levels now.
we can be, but it's all
I
related.
I
It's
wanted to
all
talk about Joe
connected.
Rogan.
We can get into Joe Rogan. Let's do it. Jump into Joe Rogan.
Okay, not his podcast, everybody, but his recent bout with COVID-19. Matt,
Yeah,
you're on.
I saw Joe Rogan. I watched a clip. He got COVID. Let's say what it's September 11th, 2021 was maybe a week ago or a little over maybe a week and a half ago,
Yep.
and he got COVID, and he came out and publicly stated it, and he did a bunch of I don't know all the things that he took, but he had a drip of things. But the main thing that he took was ivermectin, and that ivermectin is also used in horses and animals to get rid of parasites and worms. So the mainstream media just ran with that and said Joe Rogan
The
is.
entire mainstream media or certain channels?
I would say like 90% of the mainstream media ran with
Uh-huh.
smearing Rogan,
I've
saying
only seen like one clip on CNN with Anderson Cooper, and
Yeah.
it was what is like when Rogan first put it out, and I haven't looked into this as much as you have, Matt, and so maybe I'm ignorant. Everybody, I think maybe some other people are more on the up and up. But I watched one episode. I watched the links that you sent me, Matt, afterwards after the fact. But I watched one episode of CNN. It was like a 4 or 5 minute episode, and it was Anderson Cooper, and he was saying, "Oh, here's Joe Rogan," and Joe Rogan has been a proponent of saying that people who are young and healthy should not take the vaccine. And oh, look at him now, he's healthy, and he's not that young. He's 50. He's in his early 50s.
54, I think.
But still, because he takes good care of himself, I'm sure his metabolism or his immune system is strong,
Yeah.
and probably stronger than mine, and I'm younger than him. So, or who knows? So he got COVID, and then he's like, "Well, damn, dude, I'm just gonna, go to the doctor, and I'm gonna take some medication." And they painted it on CNN when he first, announced this. They're like, Joe Rogan, he's a very important podcaster, and he's actually been disobedient, and he has not towed the line. And he says that young people, especially young healthy people, should not take the vaccine. How dare him?
Did he actually say that? I don't
No,
remember him
I'm
saying-
doing my over exaggerated
Oh,
version
okay,
of
okay.
Anderson Cooper on CNN. And and sure enough, a day later, Joe Rogan is fine.
No.
What do you got now, CNN?
He's like, "I'm back."
And they're just like, oh, he took a horse deworming drug.
Yeah.
This must mean he's insane. He's doing all sorts of crazy witch doctor stuff. In the meantime, take our shot, because that's the only cure for COVID. And by the way, the shot you're gonna need a booster in about 6 months, so it's not that great.
Well, if Joe Rogan, which has a huge audience, says
Millions.
I took ivermectin and I was fine, like
And a
in
doctor,
a day or
hold on,
two.
he said a doctor recommended that I do it. It's not like he just bought it on the black market online or some shit.
No, of course not. And that's why it's so absurd that you have news organizations like CNN or MSNBC or ABC or any of these major news organizations that come out and they try to smear him. You're
Well-
like, no, you're taking everything that he said out of context. You're chopping up the video. You're deceiving people. You're deceiving people. You're lying to people.
It's not absurd to us, Matt, because we've been watching these people for decades.
Exactly, but
And
it's
we're just like, of course they're lying.
But for people to like watch this and buy into it and really, I don't know. It's very frustrating.
Okay, well,
frustrating,
Matt,
but
I have to take you back to my points. People are intellectually lazy.
that's true. They don't want to do the research.
That's right. They're intellectually lazy. They're intellectually dishonest. Let's say they're somewhat diligent. They're not entirely lazy. But then so there's the hurdles that they have to overcome. They have to overcome intellectual laziness. They have to overcome intellectual dishonesty. And very closely connected to that is willful ignorance, which is another form of intellectual dishonesty. It takes a greater character in a person to overcome those hurdles. And
Yeah.
they're kind of the people who are in charge are banking on the fact that most people don't have character.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. They're banking that most people choose not to look into something.
Right, intellectual
I mean,
laziness,
that's it. That's the bottom line.
willful ignorance.
Yeah, so Joe Rogan got better and
In a day.
in a day, and CNN smeared him, and then the next day Joe Rogan goes on to his podcast and is saying, "Hey, CNN, they must know that they're lying. Like, I got this drug. It was prescribed to me by my doctor. They must know they're lying." Yes, of course they know they're lying. Their whole agenda is to push a narrative. They're full of shit. I'm sorry, I don't usually swear, but
No, I actually really like that you said that.
they're full of shit. And they have been for years. And so when people just keep listening to something like CNN or MSNBC or whatever mainstream media organization you're listening to, when they keep going with these lies and pushing this narrative, and it's crap, when are you going to stand up and say something? When are you going to just say, like, okay, enough is enough. I'm not going to listen to this anymore.
Well, Matt, did you not hear me about 5 minutes ago? People need to overcome the hurdles.
People are lazy, like you said,
Well,
intellectually lazy.
Each one of us have to overcome the hurdles. We had to do it, didn't we, Matt?
Yes, of course.
You had to overcome the hurdles of. You had the battle within yourself. Of you're just like, is this really like you were faced with the facts, and you're like, ah, and the facts were like when the truth is presented to somebody, it can be intimidating, but when you actually realize that the power of the truth sets you free, you once you taste that, you're just like, you're hooked like it's a drug.
It is for me. I just keep researching and keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Okay, so Matt, I see some notes down in front of you. Let's talk about some of the stuff you got written down.
Well, I was taking some notes yesterday, and I was just talking about like COVID, and I was looking at the Rockefeller Foundation, how the Rockefeller Foundation really took over the whole medical, um, everything medical in the United States. They took over the whole medical field, if you will.
The Rockefeller Foundation.
The Rockefeller family, but they used the Rockefeller Foundation in order to advance their policies and to push their narratives. I was talking about COVID. I really do think that the Rockefeller Foundation is responsible for COVID. It's one of the key main players in COVID. I'm also looking at Bill Gates. Bill Gates is funding the WHO, the World Health Organization. He's one of the largest funders behind the United States for the WHO. Why is that? Was the virus engineered? Was it used as a bioweapon for a geopolitical advantage of power to establish a power dictatorship, a tyrannical government, if you will? Or was it?
Well,
Let's look at that.
we talked about this earlier on. We talked about how 9/11, 20 years later, I just can't believe that it's 20 years to the day.
Yeah.
But 20 years ago, it was a I mean, I personally believe, I think you agree with me, It's a manufactured event
Yep.
to achieve a greater global outcome.
Yep. It's
And I do think that I agree with you that the whole COVID thing is the same thing. It's a manufactured event to achieve a greater global outcome, but not for our benefit, not at all.
no
Not for
for
the not
theirs, for
not for
theirs.
you know, not this is the I think that this is one of the greatest hours in American history. I don't say that lightly. I think that this is one of the greatest hours in American history where America has to show up right now. Like real ideological America has to understand what's happening right now. Um, because if not, that's pathetic. I mean, that's a sad way for something like a legacy like America to just disintegrate. I personally think it's. I don't think it's going to happen. I do think that the real America is showing up and will show up.
We're right in the precipice. We're like right at that
Now
that
we are
boiling point.
we're already
It's
we're well past the point of no return.
This is a global thing.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone realizes that, but I do want to say things like 9/11 or COVID, it's all just another move on the chessboard for these globalists, this cabal,
Yeah,
these
and
people.
so who is their true enemy? Who's standing in their way?
The people, the
That's right.
citizens of the world,
The
not just the United States,
That's
but
true.
every person on this planet.
Yep. Every person who considers themselves a free person on the earth. But I think in America, the fight is going to get thick. I do think that because America is symbolic in the world as the free refuge. Like people come here from all over the world. It is
To make a better lives
yeah,
for
well,
themselves.
to live free.
Right. For their children and their
And
grandchildren.
yeah, and so people come here from all over the world to find that idea of freedom. And even whatever they leave, even though America has its faults, they know they have a very stark comparative analysis that we don't understand because we compare America to itself versus like a different country, and then they come here and they're just like, this isn't that bad at all compared to what I'm used to.
No, communist countries.
No. They might come into my house at night. They might.
Well, that's what's
take-
coming if people don't stand up.
A lot of. I think enough Americans know what's up.
I hope so. I hope you're right. I've been getting pretty negative, so I'm glad that you can that I can listen to you and maybe feel a little more positive about the situation.
What other notes do we got on that paper, Matt?
Let's see. I don't have a lot on the this paper. I kind of went through them. You know, it was generally and essentially about COVID, and it was about locking people down. It's about global communism, as far as I'm concerned, which is just. I was trying to use the analogy earlier of just another move on the chessboard. I think 9/11 was a move on the chessboard. COVID is another move on the chessboard.
Another big one.
JFK was a move on the chessboard. The 2008 crash, financial crash, move on the chessboard. These are all moves that are plotted out, planned way in advance. in order to progress the agenda of this global communistic, Marxist, socialist, one world government. Yeah. Is it a conspiracy? Sure. Is it a conspiracy theory? No. It's real. It's happening in front of your face. And that brings me back to sharing information to try to wake people up, wake Americans up to take a stand and to say, no, I'm not going to cooperate with this unjust system anymore. So I kind of think that's where we are. I'm sorry. I ran through my notes. Um,
Okay, so Matt, it's September 11th. Today is Saturday. Tuesday is what day?
the 14th.
Yeah. And what happens then?
I
Is there anything special in the state going on September 14th?
I don't know. I
Don't
don't
let
know.
me down, dude.
I don't. September 14th.
Yeah, Tuesday, September 14th.
Yikes. Oh, I'm sorry. Hello. The recall election. Boom. Sorry about that.
Yeah, your tone just changed dramatically.
I got real happy about talking about the recall election. I am very pessimistic. Unfortunately, I've never been so positive on one hand and so pessimistic on the other about the recall election, because I know that those, if we say in power, are going to try to rig the recall election. But I also know that so many Californians don't want Newsom anymore, and they want to get rid of him, and they are going to vote no. So
Have you voted yet?
I have not.
What's your plan?
I'm gonna go vote in person, and I already looked at the polling place, and it's about 6 minutes. 6 minutes, like a drive, 6 minute drive from where I live. So I'm gonna go in person. Yeah, I got my mail-in ballot like weeks ago, but I don't trust it. I don't trust the mail-in ballots. So
What's the difference for you?
whew, you know, any way that I can participate in not participating in stealing the election, I will do.
But what is different? I mean, here's my question.
I'm not sure.
Do you once you do your ballot, you hand it over to somebody, and they do what?
I heard some guy online. Okay, I'm always reading comments online, talking to people. He said you vote on the machine, and it will give you a printout of who you voted for. So then you have like a receipt, if you will. So you have proof who you voted for. So if you were to go back later and say, I just want to double check that my vote counted, I have a receipt. I don't know if that's the circumstances in the election for the recall here. I don't know if they're going to be using Dominion machines or computerized machines. I don't know if it's going to be solely paper ballots. I don't know. But I just feel that voting in person is better and has less chances of being rigged and stolen.
Yeah, this is me being devil's advocate because the name of our
Please.
show is Dare to Think, and we go as liberal as we can, don't we, Matt? Liberal in the truest sense, where we're just like we're free.
I mean, there's
But, okay, so here's my question. You have this expectation that if you vote in person, symbolically, ceremonially, that has a greater kind of impact than if you drop a mail ballot into the mailbox or at some sort of polling box. Why psychologically do you think it's more legitimate to do it the way that you're talking about?
I don't really want to talk about it psychologically. I just think that maybe it's actually
You
physically
have
more
to.
safe.
No, you have to. Of course, you have to talk about it psychologically.
Because when you vote and you put it in the mail and then it just gets sent off into the ether, and then you just hope that your vote gets counted,
How do you
opposed to
know your
going to
vote
a
gets
physical
no? Yeah.
location.
So what?
So I don't
You
know.
are passing it to who?
I don't
What's the
know if it's
guy's
going to
name?
be legitimate. Even if I go there in person, I don't know if it's going to be
Right.
counted legitimately. I
Right.
don't know.
I'm challenging the psychological aspect of your position. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying is I think that like people when they vote for it when they go in person, they think that maybe psychologically
Mhm.
it might be
Mhm.
counted
Yeah.
more fairly
Yes.
than if they were to do it by mail in.
I
Is
get that.
it? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. See that's what I was trying to get from you is
Yeah.
I see and I tend to go along with your line of thinking. I tend to think that too. I tend to distrust the mail bit, but trust the in-person bit. But the truth is, I have no idea.
Right, right.
I'm trusting that the in-person thing is somehow more
Legitimate,
yeah,
safe, secure.
right. I'm trusting that. But the truth is I have no idea. They could both
Yeah, I don't
be
know.
a fucking excuse my French, but they could both just be a crock of shit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. It's already pre-decided.
And it probably is.
So I still think, and this is me as my, just me as a human being, as my own person. I still think that I believe we should do what we know is right all the time, every time. Say what's right, do what's right, because we have a power behind us.
Right. The truth.
The truth. Always doing what you know is right. Always say the truth. Always. That's the safest way to be. That's the freest way to live as a human being. And even if there's corruption involved, you are free. Your conscience is free,
Hmm.
and you know that you did everything that you could in your power
Yeah.
to will what is correct and what is right. And that's what you should do. And I think that you are operating and we are operating within the laws, the natural laws of nature.
Yeah.
When we do that, we get vindicated by that and we're free and we're clear.
I mean, dude, we're good people. I try to be the best person I can be every day of my life. I'm
Why
not perfect.
why do you think we're friends?
Thank you. I just want to do the right thing. I just want to see the world
That's a blessing,
in a
Matt.
positive light.
Yeah. No, people who want that have a blessing, I think, on their life. And this is just my personal belief. And it tends to just go better for people. It doesn't mean that they always end up on the right side of the stick. Sometimes they get the shitty end of the stick. But it tends to overall go better for people who are operating by the natural laws.
Right, right, right.
And I think that people who are honest, intellectually honest, and who listen to what I'm saying, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't even have to explain it to you. You just know it.
Most people know whether they're doing something right or wrong, you know? Even when people do things wrong all the time,
Oh yeah.
they know that they're doing wrong. They're
Yeah.
well aware of it.
Oh yeah.
So,
And whenever anybody is quote wronged, they always try to get a bunch of people on their side. And they go, "Did you see that? Did you see how effed up that was? Can you believe that? Can you believe that so and so said that? Can you believe that so and so did that? OMG."
oh my
Yeah, get
God.
on my side because I'm in the right. And can you believe that that person did that to me? They're operating understanding that there is a natural law, there is a natural justice. It's not hard. But people are intellectually dishonest because as soon as they do it to somebody else, they're like, "Oh, well that person's tripping." Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of double standards, and we're just trying to point out the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not perfect. I don't know what perfect is. I don't think there's anything that is actually perfect. But
It's a bummer, Matt, because up until tonight, I actually thought that you were perfect. And then I walked in here and you just confessed to me that you're not, and I'm like,
I'm a terrible person.
oh man.
Yeah, I just want the. Yeah. I'm trying to think of something witty to say to that, but I can't off the top of my head. So I will just say, yeah, that's why I do this, man.
Yeah, let's keep going. Let's just keep going.
That's why I do this. I just want to see humanity be positive. That's all I want. 9/11, COVID, mass shootings, financial crashes, child trafficking, drugs, human trafficking.
Y-
It's all the same playbook. It's all going on by one group of people. All misery on planet Earth is a business deal. It's a business transaction. I'm really frustrated not only because of COVID, but 9/11, especially because of today. Just everything that's going on. Everyone just wants, well, I can't say everyone, I'm sorry. A lot of people don't want to put the pieces of the puzzle together in order to see the big picture. They don't want to take the time to lay down the foundation of understanding. That's what's frustrating to me.
What's frustrating, though, Matt, is I hear you, but what is your expectation of people? Do you think that you seem to have an expectation that they should do this? But I kind of challenge you, dude, to look more broadly at history and look how people have thought throughout time. Most people, and I'm saying this for your benefit, Matt, most people don't critically think. They don't. And so you have to factor that into your whole thinking as you kind of go on your mission.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, that's true. That's very true. It's it's kind of depressing, but it's true.
No, I don't say it to discourage you at all. I say it actually to encourage you.
Sure, I mean, I just have the best intentions in my life, and I see all this misery and negativity, and I want to help. It's like seeing somebody get in a car crash and seeing somebody the car's flipped over and somebody's in the driver's seat or the passenger seat and they're struggling, they're still alive, but there's blood all over their face and they're hurt and they need someone. It's like I want to be that person. I want to go and help them, but I can't. I can't do it.
No, but you actually are. You actually are helping people a lot.
I hope so.
No,
I mean,
you
thank
are.
you.
You definitely are.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm not just a crazy conspiracy theorist.
Well, you are, but you're also not. You're a quote conspiracy theorist to some, but you're actually a very well thought out, clear thinking. What?
Sorry, my computer just started talking.
Destroy your
Sorry about that. Yeah, dude, I appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying is let me finish saying
Please,
you're
yeah.
also a very free you're also a very free thinking um independent individual.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it almost brings me to tears. Like it makes me really emotional. It's like just trying to share information to make the world a better place and then getting ridiculed for it and being called crazy for it. Um, it's difficult, you know. I don't just do this podcast. I don't think either of us just do this podcast, take time out of our lives. You have a son, you're busy. We don't just do it for the hell of it. Like we want to share important information with people.
Yeah, I also have fun when I do it.
Yeah, me too. Of course. That's why I do it as
So
well.
if people like it, they like it. If not, that's fine. I just have fun doing just being me and hanging out with you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we could we could be talking about building models, or we could be talking about building houses
Yeah,
or
but when
survival techniques, but we're not.
no, but when you listen back on all the episodes that we've done, like, I like what I hear, and I like what we're doing. I like the whole conversation. I like the dynamics of it. I like the subject matter. I think the whole thing is fun for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's great. That's what it should be. It's supposed to be fun. It's also very daunting and overwhelming.
Yeah, sometimes the other thought I had, Matt. Maybe this will, maybe you'll like this, maybe not. Is that I'm like, when I listen to our stuff, I'm like, are we just preaching to the choir, or are we having any effect on people who don't think like we do yet, and they still like need to be provoked? I don't know that. I don't know what that looks like.
I don't know either, but all we can do is just keep going on.
Well, yeah, we're true to ourselves, and we have to speak the truth as we see it.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing discouraging about that whatsoever.
No, I mean, yeah, thank you. This has been a good talk. I don't know. Might have been all over the place, but
I don't think so. I think it
all
was
right.
actually quite coherent.
Concise.
Yeah, I think it was concise. I think it was coherent. I think it went somewhere. Um, I think the other pieces show that.
Good. Good. I'm glad. Well, this has been September 11th to 2021.
20 years ago, dude.
20 years ago. It's a big day, and I know a lot
We
of
only
people
scratched.
remember this.
We only scratched the surface of it in number 8.
We barely got
We
into
need to
it.
do like 3 episodes on September 11th.
Yeah, it's a lot of
worthy
information.
of that.
A lot of information.
It is
But
indeed.
bottom line is, as far as I'm concerned, it was an inside job. So I'll leave it at that, and we will see you guys.
And then we have to do 3 episodes on why you said that now.
Probably. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you very much. Night night.
Love you.